Hello, me beauties. Welcome to Laura's World. I'm Laura and I'm taking up space. So I wound up having to slice my last video in half because it was over an hour of me. And I know my videos tend to be on the longer end of things, usually 30 minutes or 25 to 35 minutes or something like that. And I should probably only be ingested in small doses, so I did cut that video in half, so it'll be split up. So by the time you're seeing this, I'm recording this on the 6th of October, so you'll probably wind up seeing this 8th or 9th at this rate. I don't know. Today's aromatherapy might be a little seasonally inappropriate. Like most things, do I look like I care? But it's the English Laundry by Christopher Wicks, I guess the original, because I have different variants of English Laundry scents. And once again, the camera isn't doing... There we go. So this is aromatic and woody. It's apparently meant for spring and summer, day or night. Has bergamot, lemon, lavender, cedar, base notes of sandalwood and musk, and in its heart, nutmeg and coriander. So it's got spices, but it's not spicy, and it's, I don't know, a little bit fruity, let's give it a whirl. Let's just try it out. Something seems to be up with the sprayer mechanism. I don't know if it picked up a clicking noise every time I did it. I felt like I was getting like maybe incomplete spritzes, so there might actually be something wrong with this sprayer mechanism, so I'll have to work on it, see if I can... I don't have any empty atomizers around, but if this turns into a problem, I might just pick one up from Amazon or something. But anyway, it's yeah, it's a sweet, almost like a fresh, but a little more mellow. I am getting the lavender. I'm not really getting lemon, but that's nice. I can see how this would be a spring or summer and definitely not a fall or winter, but again, I don't care. As I spray my Caudalie grape water, which I absolutely love, and I'm going to have to pick up another can soon, I figure maybe I'll talk a little bit about my day. I usually don't have very much going on. I guess I'll, as I drop things, I guess I'll open up a little bit about, some things. Only what I'm comfortable with. So an average day for me consists mainly of getting up, taking the dog out, feeding the dog, playing with the dog, training a little bit, helping to take care of my mother. I probably have mentioned that she is virtually bedbound. She can get up and get into her wheelchair and move around a little bit in that sense. She does try to take care of herself as best as she can, but every day it's a little harder. It's taxing. It's taxing on her because she is, my whole life I've known her as the most independent person I've ever met. And now she's dependent almost entirely on other people, and that's why she lives with us. And it's causing, it's a stressful situation for everyone involved, unfortunately, but family is family. And you know, she helps a little bit with the bills. I mean, she uses the lights, the electricity, the TV's going all day. She's always doing something with the thermostat because she's either too hot or too cold. So, I mean, it's nice that she helps because, well, the reason why my day only consists of a few things, I used to be a very accomplished and put together person. Between having to sell and move out of the condo that my husband and I bought, you know, after living there for 5 years and building our lives in this one area, we moved. Moving was a double-edged sword for me. I was not exactly happy. I was thrilled that my in-laws bought us this house, basically. Yeah. They bought us this house because they want to see their son using some of his inheritance, and living in a nice home is one way to do it. And I mean, I can't put into words the gratitude I have for that motion alone. But the reason, they wanted us out of the neighborhood we were in because it was a little, I don't want to say it was dangerous. Okay, so maybe there were a couple of shootings. There was one night, oh my god, story time. We were sitting in our living room in the condo, and in the living room was a large slider door, we just called it the slider, that led out onto a reasonably sized balcony. It wasn't narrow, it was enough to fit 3 people comfortably, And so it was, I think it was a fall evening, autumn evening. Could have been winter for all I know, but it was a little unseasonable. It's the second time I've used that word in this video. Anyway, it was mild. It was mild out, but it was pleasant. It was like a nice temperature, so we left the slider open. And we had it wide open. We had the bedroom windows open and the curtains wide open, all the lights on, Anyone outside could have seen what was going on. We looked out onto a parking lot. It is what it is. And so we were just chilling in the living room, minding our business, and all of a sudden we hear pop, pop, pop. Okay. I know what that sound is because of where I grew up. My next door neighbor was a psychopath and shot at birds early in the morning. So I knew immediately it was gunshots. My husband are like, shit, get down, So we're like stomach crawling our way to the hallway where there are no windows and no one can see anything, and he's calling the cops. And while he's talking to the operator, I guess someone next to them was like, oh my god, we got another call about a shooting. Well, there was a shooting. It was a shooting, and they think it was like a gang initiation because unfortunately there's a little bit of a gang problem in a very nearby location. They got the kid. It was a 16-year-old kid. Threw his life away. And anyway, so there was a shooting before we moved there. That happened, and then there was a burglary and a fire. That was arson. It just turned into... They really wanted us out. My parents, when my father was alive and my mother was still well, would come and visit. It took over 2 hours for them to get from my hometown to where we lived in the condo. But they would come and they would stay for an extended weekend. And, we had a good time. But my in-laws were not afraid. They weren't afraid to come, but they were uncomfortable. We'll leave it at that. It was a little uncomfortable for some people. I mean, we were constantly having get-togethers and people over, and because my husband and I at the time were definitely very social. My husband is still very social. We're just very social people. Very fortunate to have a lot of friends and always having parties and get-togethers and whatnot. But so the in-laws wanted us out, and my mother moved in with us to this condo. She moved in January of 2019, I think it was. Yeah. She moved in January of 2019, and we lived there until June of 2020. Now, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I'm going to say about 1,100 square feet. And it was perfect for my husband and I because we had the master bedroom with an ensuite bathroom, and then we had a guest room with the bathroom across the hall, and we had an actual separate kitchen, separate dining room, and a very large living room. The floor plan of this place, I absolutely loved it. It was perfect for the two of us. Once my mother moved in, it got a little crowded. aside from personality clashes and things of that nature, it was difficult for her to get around certain bends with her wheelchair, and my husband and I are a little messy, so we were constantly shoveling things out of the way so she wouldn't run them over because we're just a mess. I think the worst example of the issues, I'm not even going to talk about what she did when I started working from home. I'm not going to talk about any of that yet. But the time that the toilet broke in the main bathroom, which is the one that she used, she had to get into our bathroom, and there was no easy way for her in her wheelchair to maneuver into our bathroom. And it's not even because we had crap all over the place. It was because the angles were just off. So I've talked about my back. I have arthritis in my lower back that was caused by constant and repeated strain and inappropriate bending and maneuvering to take care of my father as he was dying. So here I am pushing, pulling, and trying to lift the end of her wheelchair to turn it so that she could get into our bathroom. What a nightmare. So my in-laws, I want to say March or April of 2020, it was, you know what, it was literally right before the pandemic lockdown started. They went searching and they hooked up with they're into real estate. They own several properties. They're landlords, and so they got hooked up with a landlord in the area, and we wanted to stay in the location we were at, but they couldn't find a home that would be suitable for the two of us and my mother. Yeah, she was included in the equation. So I've been blathering about this, I think, too long. Basically, let's sum up. We moved out in June of 2020 to where we are right now, which is a much bigger space. We went from 1,100 to almost 1,800 square feet. Went from 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom to a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom. But here's the catch. The designated living room area was converted into a bedroom before they bought it, and then they had an extra door cut into the wall of the bedroom to go into the bathroom, and that is my mother's living area. She has her bedroom, and the house main bathroom is actually her bathroom. So we moved here essentially because it was the right price, the right time, and the right layout for my mother. I did my damnedest. I worked my hardest to make sure that they knew I was grateful, because it's not every day that someone buys you a freaking house. But I was very unhappy to leave the area we lived in for 5 years, and it took a long time for me to turn around. I love this house. I absolutely love this house. I'm now involved in the community. I am on the recreation committee. I am the communication committee. I'm it. And, most of the neighborhood knows who I am because of my dog, because she goes crazy. Oh, Maisie. Crazy Maisie. But between June 2020, when we moved in, and October 1st of 2020, things started to reach a boiling point in my head. I don't know how to put this, so I'm just going to come out with it. All of the stress from moving, from the lockdown. I mean, everybody went through stress with the lockdown, so I can't really say much on that. But, oh my god, what the hell? My chin. This thing fell apart. Anyway, between the COVID lockdown, moving, my mom's needs becoming greater, and working from home. Now, I had handled working from home in the condo just fine. I had a corner in the living room where I set up my computer, And that was that. And I would be constantly interrupted because of my mother. And I'm not blaming her, but she would have accidents and I would be in the middle of making calls and she'd be yelling for me to help her. And it was like a weird dichotomy, because it's like work wasn't understanding about the fact that I had to take care of her, and her needs were not understanding about the fact that I had to work. So it was a constant clash. And then when we moved, I was put into this room, which we now call my room or the office. It used to be called the spare room, but I've pretty much taken it over. So I'm in here and I'm working from June to October 1st, and my job really started to get extremely stressful. I didn't really like what I was doing. I had done what I was doing for almost 12 years. I was with this last company for just shy of 11 years. And mix the fact that I didn't like what I was doing. It was insurance sales, and it got very high pressured, and my pay was just going lower and lower and lower, but I was working harder and harder and harder. And no, it was not a situation of work smarter, not harder. It was the demands were unbelievable. I could feel myself crashing down. I could just sense something was on the horizon, and all of this that I was talking about came to a point. I was on a Zoom call with my job when they gave another ultimatum, a new something to add to the list of requirements in order to basically get paid, that sent me over the edge. I got along well with my coworkers. Some of them are still friends. I got along well with management. I never had a personnel issue. I was made employee of the quarter twice. I had over $1 million book of business, which translates to the business that I personally wrote for the entire time that I was at the company, equated to over $1 million in premiums. Don't think I saw that. I did not get rich at this job. But as the Zoom call was coming to a close, tears just started coming down my face. Nobody saw it, because we were given webcams, not this one. We were given different ones by the employer that weren't as good as this one. And I have problems with this one, but this one is still better than what he had. And as soon as I got off of the Zoom call, I took my headset off and I just blew up. I had a complete breakdown. To the point that I feel like my brain broke. I'm getting to the point now where I can't do it. I wasn't able to get full sentences out. It was just a nightmare. So I called my therapist in a complete panic. And she's like, okay, I'll take care of everything. What do you need me to do? Who do I need to call? You need a break. So I immediately went out on what in the United States we have called temporary disability, or temporary family leave insurance, or something crazy like that. We pay into it, and as long as we have a medical need with a doctor to back it up, I was granted. My therapist wrote the letters, but I had to basically get the note in order to get it from my, put it out there, psychiatrist. I tell you, one of the worst things that I deal with, I have diagnosed PTSD. That's one of the things. And so I got put out on disability for at least a month to try and see what would happen. And yes, I realize there are still fragments of my freaking cotton pad on my face. Whatever. After the month, I returned to work for a total of 3 days. 3 days. And I had not gotten better. My situation had not improved, had not changed. Shouldn't say it didn't change, it did get a little worse. And I couldn't handle it. So I went back out from November until January of 2021. And so, as of January 2021, my employer and I had a very long discussion, and since I was not able to return to work at that point, and didn't know if and when I'd be able to, we had to part ways. He said I'm not fired, but because I can't be there, he can't really hold my place anymore. So, circumstances that they were, I lost my job, I lost my income. But at that point, I didn't even care because I was so ill and nothing was changing or nothing was getting better. I couldn't work. And so here we are, October 6th, 2022. I have officially not worked in 2 years. We are in the process, I don't know if I should talk about this too much, but we are in the process of, in the midst of my application for permanent disability, because all of my doctors for my various illnesses and my therapist, they're all on the same page. They say, yeah, you need to get on that because I can barely function. I know I look like I'm having a good time on camera, and I am having a good time on camera, but I'm isolated in a room with back to the wall, so I'm looking out at the room and the door is closed and I'm by myself. And I'm pacing this the way that I want to. I mean, you don't know that sometimes there's an hour or two break in between these little clips. But it's fine, because doing this is good for me. It's calming. And I probably just said a little too much, but I figured let me give a background as to why my days are the way they are. Today, I had 2 doctor's appointments. First, actually, at 9 o'clock, I had the Recreation Committee meeting because we are doing a children's pumpkin paint activity in the community on the 18th, I believe. And so 9 a.m. meeting didn't work well for me, but I made it because I had missed a couple of meetings for various reasons. And I took Maisie with me because the reason we got her is because we were hopeful to train her to be my service animal. At the very least, she's an emotional support animal, but I still don't take her very many places. Just because I'm afraid if I can't control her, like, what am I going to look like? But she's okay to come to the clubhouse where there's only a few people. She's a very loving dog. She just wants to be... She wants to see everybody. She wants to give everybody kisses and stuff, and she wants everybody to scritch her. And then she goes and drops a deuce in the middle of the floor. Dog, she never does that. Why did she do it today? I don't know. Anyway, so I had that meeting at 9 a.m. Came back home, took a little nap with the baby, the dog, and then I had a 2:40 doctor's appointment with my orthopedic. They called it orthopedic surgeon, but I'm not having surgery. It's just for my back, for my arthritis. I have to go see him every 3 months because that is the state law for one of the medications that I'm on. You have to be seen by your physician every 90 days to keep getting refills on the script, and he can't give a multi-month refill. It's 1 month at a time, so I have to keep calling the office every month to get the refill. Because the medication that I'm on is I don't know remember what class they call it, but it's basically a controlled substance. And I have proven my responsibility with it because I try not to take it, basically. So that involved me driving. I used to love driving. Now, driving is listed among some of my phobias. I have panic attacks and like get physically agitated when I have to get behind the wheel. For the longest time, my husband would just take me to everything, but he's so busy at work right now because they have a big convention coming up that he can't take me. I had to take myself, and it was only a 20-minute car ride, but it felt like an eternity, and I was a little bit of a mess. So when the doctor came in the room, he saw me like ticking or something. I don't know, I was shaking, and he's just like, he must have remembered me, because he's like, oh, I'm glad to see you out. I'm glad to see that you made it. You know, how are you feeling? Everything like that. I gotta be really honest. I'm very lucky with a majority of my doctors. So everything with that was status quo, and we just left it the way it was. But because I was late coming to the doctor and he was running a little bit behind, my therapist appointment was stacked right on top. So I wound up being about 10 minutes late to my therapy appointment, which is done. I usually sit on the computer with my headphones and we do a video, because that's ever since 2020 my therapist has just been doing video conference appointments, and so I had to do it from the car. And she saw it and she's like, I'm proud of you for being in the car. I was like, yeah, that was interesting. I really wish that more people would take mental health seriously. I like to think of it this way. If something is wrong with your heart, you have heart disease or a disease of the heart. If something is wrong with your lungs, you have lung disease. If something is wrong with your brain is sick, you have a brain disease. It's the same thing, if you think of it that way. It is something physical that's wrong with that particular organ. And for some reason, mental health worldwide treatment is just abysmal. So I eventually made it home. Between the two appointments and sitting in my car, kind of psyching myself up to be able to drive again and get home, I was gone for about 3 hours. And when I got home, first thing I did, I went to Maisie, and she was so happy to see me, got lots of kisses, and yeah, she's really the best girl, because after I let her run around for a little while, took her out and, you know, did some treats and had some time with Grandma, my mother. She likes to jump into bed with Grandma sometimes. We went back upstairs, and I sat down on the bed and I looked at her and said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dog. I don't have the energy, mental or physical, to do anything else. So she jumped right up on the bed and snuggled up to me, and that was it. And then I fell asleep with her snuggling me, and then next thing I know, my husband's home from work at 10:30 at night. So that was essentially my day. And now I'm over here editing videos, watching YouTube, and now making this video while doing some skincare. Update on the condition of my skin. Whatever was going on over here seems to have died down. The eyelids are still drying and crusting a little bit. They were a little painful today. This thing, that Zap Kinship Cream, is really doing a hell of a job of drying it out. But I stupidly forgot it was there. It finally stopped hurting, and I forgot it was there, and I felt something, so I scratched, and it was a scab. Oops. So this is still healing. And this thing, I'm not bothering with it. This is still kind of an issue. It's just going to take time to heal. I still honestly don't get it. I don't understand what happened. But I'm just dealing with it, right? I think this is done. I think this Kinship Bright Wave Energizing and Brightening Eye Cream is done for. I keep trying to squeeze it down. I keep trying to get product out. And yesterday, the tiniest little amount came out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get any more. Ooh, 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 ooh. I got some. So we're not done. Maybe I got one more day left. That's how much I like this stuff. All right. So, that's, yay, eye cream. I'm not going to be buying any more of that. I have other eye creams to get through. I told myself, now that you know that I haven't worked in 2 years and I've been burning through my savings and racking up my credit cards, buying all sorts of things to make me feel better. That's why I got into this journey. Because I was told to go into self-care, and I was told to find some way to I wasn't taking care of myself. I completely stopped taking care of myself, and that's part of the problem. So getting into this is it's forcing me to take better care of myself, but I went a little manic. And by a little manic, I mean a lot. And it's something that we're going through in therapy right now. Like, I've just stopped. And it's noticeable to the point that my mother was looking and she's like, you haven't gotten packages in days. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying. So at least it's noticeable that I'm trying to stop. That being said, let's look at some of the shit I bought from Sephora. But first, I want to do a lip scrub. Today I'm doing Blue Raspberry Sucker. The texture on this is awesome. I took too much yesterday. It's so nice. It feels rough. Like, it feels like it's doing it. But it's not, like, hurting. It's rough. And it tastes like blue raspberry. I love it. And these lip scrubs are going to last a long time. Because only a little bit is all it takes. And I barely even scratched the surface. Totally. And it was $6 a piece. They were on sale for $6. And, I mean, you go to the convenience store and pick up a tube of Blistex for like $3.50. And that stuff you go through. But this is going to last a long time. Wow. I'm impressed. I'm honestly impressed. Put a little YSL. A little YSL balm to smooth things over.